being late on such a day. What were you thinking?
On my wedding day, as I was heading to the venue, I had to rush a pregnant woman who wasn't feeling well to the hospital. As a result, I, one of the main figures of the event, ended up being late. As we were about to start the delayed ceremony, my Phil, furious and shouting, approached us. "I'm so sorry. There was a pregnant lady on the way who wasn't feeling well."
Well, such a ridiculous lie. Even if it's true, you chose to prioritize some unknown woman over my daughter. You've brought shame upon us.
He grabbed my arm, trying to drag me to the ceremony hall. The staff tried to stop him, but he shrugged them off.
Dad, stop it. What are you doing?
I knew it. This guy is a stupid. The wedding is off. Go around and apologize to each guest.
When he appeared at the wedding venue where the attendees were seated and saw me being dragged along, everyone's eyes widened in surprise. Pushing me in front of his family's side, he yelled, "Kneel down and apologize now." It seemed like the situation wouldn't calm down unless I complied. Why has it come to this? Just as I was about to kneel, determined, and urgent news came in. Then his face turning pale, looked at me.
You couldn't possibly.
This was the very beginning of his downfall. My name is Michael Johnson, 33 years old. I'm a regular employee for a publishing house that mainly focuses on travel articles. The publishing industry is fiercely competitive, but since we're not a big player, the workplace can be quite calm depending on the season. As for me, I'm just an ordinary guy, neither particularly skilled at my job nor exceptionally talented. Just an average person. I finished the document you asked for. I submitted a freshly prepared interview plan to the section chief, who then tilted her head in confusion.
Johnson, this interview. It's meant to be for people who run local shops, right?
Oh, yes, you're right.
What if you ask for recommended stores and they just mention their own?
I messed up, she's right. I shouldn't have picked from the usual interview content so carelessly. I'm sorry, I'll rewrite it.
Well, this is actually good. If you ask for one more shop besides their own, you might find some secret spots.
Then she, holding back laughter, accepted my suggestion. It worked out in the end, but I need to be more careful. Seems like my colleagues overheard our conversation during break time. I unintentionally heard.
I laughed at that recommended stores interview by Johnson.
Me too. He always seems to miss something, doesn't he?
I know, right? He's kind of spacey.
He's like a little brother, makes you want to look out for him.
Apparently, it wasn't meant as criticism. Just as I was feeling relieved, I was called by our manager, Parker. Did I do something wrong? I wondered apprehensively as I went to see him. When Parker saw me, he smiled and beckoned me over.
Johnson, I hear you helped expedite the document submission to our client. The team lead had some high praise for you.
Oh, it's nothing really. I
talked to your team. They told me how you managed everyone's work schedules and checked all the documents, even while handling your own work.
It was just a bit of spare time I had. Nothing major.
But you know how much we value those little tasks, right? Oh, and I heard you updated the magazine's website too. Don't think nobody noticed. Everyone is aware of your hard work.
Oh, thank you very much. Receiving so much praise, I felt it would be rude to be too modest. I gratefully received his words of encouragement. I had intended to help reduce the workload of my kind colleagues without being too pushy. But indeed, it feels good to know that people are noticing.
By the way, would you mind if I introduce you at tomorrow's barbecue? You're good with people, and I'm sure they'll like you too.
Tomorrow, we have a barbecue planned with several publishing houses. It's a chance for building connections, exchanging information, and of course, I'm looking forward to some delicious meat. Arriving at the venue the next day, I was amazed. The scale was massive. It could easily have been called a party. Organized by a major publishing house, it was incredibly lavish. The drinks offered a wide variety, enough to fill you up on their own. Joining my colleagues, we enjoyed the meal while being introduced to journalists, editors, and people from printing companies from other company. It was a good thing I brought a bunch of business cards just in case. Taking a break from building connections, everyone mingled and enjoyed their meals. That's when a certain woman caught my attention. A woman with a ponytail gathering used paper plates and taking them to the trash. Next, she seemed interested in the drink service area, wetting a cloth and wiping down tables nearby. She occasionally chatted and ate, so she didn't seem like part of the event staff. Excuse me. Seeing her moving around alone caught my attention, and I couldn't help but approach and speak to her.
Yes.
I'm Johnson from Cherry Blossom Travel Publishing. Then she took out a business card from her pocket and handed it to me. Seeing this, I hurriedly pulled out my business card.
Thank you for introducing yourself. I'm Lana Wyndham from Asna Beauty Publishing.
Her delicate peach-colored business card read, Editorial Department, Lana Wyndham. Asna Beauty Publishing is known for handling women's fashion and makeup magazines, primarily. Getting a business card from a sector I had little interaction with before made me somewhat nervous. No, that's not it. I did not approach her just to exchange business cards. You're from Asna Beauty Publishing, right? That means you're not one of the organizers, are you? I was just curious because you were cleaning up all by yourself.
Oh, I'm sorry for making you worry. I just can't stand to see things messy and end up tidying up without thinking.
She might be a neat freak or just well-raised. Even so, keeping up with the increasing mess in such a large venue must be tough. Still, it's impressive. It shows your consideration. You'd probably like to chat with others or take a break, right? I really respect people who can be considerate like this when no one else is looking.
It's kind of you to say that, but I'm just doing it because I like to.
I get that. I'm the type who can help but notice these things too. I've just had my fill and was thinking of getting a bit of movement. So, how about I help you out?
Well, if you say so.
We talked about our respective companies' specialty magazines, occasionally picking at meat and vegetables while cleaning up the venue. I had no expertise in women's specialty magazines, so her insights were very interesting. In turn, her father works in a travel agency, listened me intently. When the event wrapped up, we were invited to an after party. Wyndham and I, still having much to talk about, decided to join the after party together. It was at a pub, so the waitstaff cleared the dishes after we finished eating. Freed from cleaning duties, we laughed about it together. On the next workday, our little duo had become well known around the office. It seems my colleagues had spotted me talking amiably with a beautiful woman from another company. Was she an acquaintance of Johnson, or did he approach her at the venue? The office was abuzz with rumors and speculation. And as soon as I arrived at work, I was bombarded with questions from the curious female employees. It's not like that. I just wanted to talk.
You mean you fell in love at first sight?
Not like that. She was just tidying up the venue out of kindness, and I couldn't help but offer to assist.
I see. That's so typical of you. Helping out without even realizing it's like flirting.
So, what's the deal with her now?
What do you mean by deal? After the after party, she and I, having hit it off, exchanged personal contact information. She sent me a message, "Thank you for today," and I just replied, "Me too, you're welcome."
That's it. I can't believe it.
She reached out to you. You should keep the conversation going.
But it was just a professional interaction.
Really? Are you okay with that?
What else can I do?
So, you're saying this is it with her?
Exactly. Unless you do something about it.
It was a work connection, so maybe that's all it should be. But maybe I want to keep in touch with her. On my way home from work, I sent a message to her personal contact. I asked, "Can we talk again sometime?" Half a month later, she and I started going out for meals frequently. We shared updates about our lives and discovered we both enjoyed watching movies. Realizing we hadn't seen a particular movie everyone was talking about, I boldly suggested, "How about we watch it together on our next day off?" When I shared this with my colleagues at work, the female employees praised me. After several dates, we gradually became what you could call a couple. A year later, I began calling her Lana, and she started calling me Michael. I proposed 2 years after we first met. It was at a restaurant near the venue where we had that barbecue. Lana and I had grown to trust each other completely and wanted to live our lives together. A month after the proposal, I was set to visit Lana's family home for the first time. I had been to her apartment several times, but never to her family home. Led by Lana, as we got out of the taxi, I couldn't believe my eyes. Before us was a mansion that looked like a castle. I knew Lana's father works in a travel agency, but only recently found out he is the CEO. Apprehensive, yet trying not to look intimidated, I walked into the house, where a housekeeper led us to the drawing room. There, I introduced myself as I handed over my business card to her parents. "I'm in a relationship with Lana. My name is Michael Johnson." Lana's father frowned as he looked at my card.
Cherry Blossom Travel Publishing. Isn't that one of our subcontractors?
Excuse me, I wondered if our main contractor had a travel agency. Maybe it was just something a regular employee like me wasn't aware of. I received Lana's father's business card, puzzled. Emerald Travel Agency.
That's right. We've given you quite a bit of business, haven't we?
We do have relationships with various travel agencies where we create plans based on their suggestions, feature them in our magazines, and promote the agencies within those pages. It's more of a cooperative company, a business partner relationship. It's different from being a subcontractor.
I never imagined Lana's partner would be an employee of a subcontractor company.
He seemed to be under the misconception that we were subcontractors. As the CEO, he might not be aware of the specific contracts with each company. I wanted to clear up the misunderstanding, but I thought it was not the right time to talk about work. So I just gave a wry smile. He then said to me,
I can't possibly approve of a marriage with an employee of a subcontractor.
"How can this be?"
Dad, what are you saying? It's my choice who I marry, right? Michael is a good person. Deciding based on the company is just.
No, it's not acceptable. Besides, his company is a useless company that doesn't even affect our performance. The reputation of the Wyndham family and Emerald Travel Agency is at stake.
That's not true. Last year, our travel magazine achieved the highest sales nationwide, and we have been favored by other travel agencies as well. I could tolerate any personal criticism, but I couldn't stay silent when our company was belittled. Everyone is kind and dedicated at work. When we achieved the top sales, we all congratulated each other and celebrated. It felt like a denial of everyone's efforts, and I couldn't help but speak up. Lana's father's expression soured even more at my rebuttal.
So what? You shouldn't be talking big as a subcontractor.
Basically, our companies are business partners, not just.
Still talking back, are you?
He stood up, ignoring his wife's attempts to calm him, and yelled,
Get out now. Your presence is unpleasant.
Realizing a sensible conversation was no longer possible, I decided to leave. That night, Lana apologized to me.
My dad has always been prideful. Ever since I was young, he's been telling me to marry someone of high status. I couldn't understand it, and I thought he would eventually calm down if I left him alone. But I never expected him to be so harsh. I'm really sorry.
It's not your fault, Lana. It was supposed to be a marriage announcement, but I also said unnecessary things.
Anyone would be hurt if something important to them was spoken about like that. You did nothing wrong. Michael, I'll try to persuade my father. Just give me some time.
Yay, thank you. Separate from the temporary hold on our wedding plans, a new problem emerged. Documents from Emerald Travel Agency weren't arriving. Despite reminders, their responses were non-committal, and they even started negotiating for a price increase. Even though their own inefficiencies were causing delays, they insisted that any late fees be our responsibility, leaving our accounting department scrambling to respond. Their sudden unreasonable behavior was surely because of me. I explained the situation to Parker. At first, he said, "That can't be. One person's displeasure can cause such an issue." But gradually, we received instructions to keep me out of the loop of the dealings, and I began to feel responsible. If Lana's father was spreading bad rumors about our company to other travel agencies and business partners, I was fearful of how far this harassment could spread. I couldn't let this company be put in jeopardy because of me. I decided to talk to Parker about it. I wondered if it would be better for the company if I were gone. To my surprise, he got unusually angry.
How can you say such thing? This is all that childish CEO's fault, not you. You've done nothing wrong. So don't talk like that. It's the responsibility of the higher-ups to handle these situations. Don't worry about anything, and keep up your good relationship with your fiancé.
Thank you very much.
Now, you have a meeting with Link Tours today, right? Switch gears and go handle that.
Yes, I'll do that. I'm a bit nervous though. My colleague said if this contract goes through, it could mean a profit of about $1 billion.
That's why we entrusted it to you. You're that valuable to us. Have confidence in yourself.
Yes, sir. I'm truly blessed with wonderful people around me. Not just Parker, but everyone at work has been supportive, not blaming me but expressing their concern. That's why I was so upset when our company was belittled. That day, I received a call from Lana. She had repeatedly persuaded her mother and somehow managed to get our marriage approved by force. Lana sounded exhausted over the phone. It must have been quite a struggle. I apologized and expressed my gratitude. I knew we weren't warmly welcomed, but I reminded myself that this was a matter between two of us. Finally, the wedding day arrived. The ceremony was scheduled for 12 p.m., and the bride and groom were to meet at the venue at 9 a.m. I texted Lana that I was leaving my house and headed to the station. Somehow, we made it to this day. Lana's family, the Wyndham family's guests, were incredibly numerous, befitting the daughter of a CEO. It feels like just yesterday when I saw Lana's face, laughing and saying, "We even narrowed it down about the guest list." The preparation truly flew by. Lana's mother was incredibly helpful, contacting family members and taking care of so many details. I don't know what we would have done without her. My colleagues at work were also constantly supportive. When I handed out the wedding invitations, they were as happy as if it was their own celebration. Reflecting on these days, I realized I could catch an earlier train than planned and was just about to reach the station when I saw a pregnant woman suddenly crouch down in front of me. "Hey, are you okay?" When I approached her, she was sweating on her forehead and seemed in pain. She didn't look like she could walk. Seeing a taxi at the station's rotary, I hurriedly hailed it and helped the woman get in. Despite her pain, she managed to hand me her hospital registration card. I told the driver the hospital's name and continued to hold her hand, offering encouragement. Upon arrival at the hospital, the attending doctor immediately tended to her. It seemed she had a sudden attack, possibly due to exhaustion. The doctor advised her to rest, and her complexion had somewhat improved. She would be staying in the hospital for observation, just to be safe.
Thank you so much for bringing me here. I don't know what would have happened if you hadn't been there.
No, I'm just glad you're safe.
May I have your name, please? I'd like to properly thank you later.
I thought it wasn't a big deal, but I couldn't dismiss her request, so I handed her my business card and left the hospital. By that time, it was past 12:30 p.m. I had missed calls and worried messages from Lana on my phone. Jumping into a taxi, I called her and explained what had happened. Lana, sounding almost tearful, must have been really worried. She was relieved that both I and the pregnant woman were safe. Arriving at the wedding venue, feeling apologetic, I hurriedly got dressed. But by the time I was ready, it was already past 2 p.m. The staff at the venue, perhaps informed by someone, were all ready to welcome me warmly, except for one person, Lana's father.
Being late on such a day. What were you thinking?
He stormed over to us, who were about to start the delayed ceremony, yelling angrily, "I'm so sorry. On the way here, I encountered a pregnant woman who was unwell."
Well, such a ridiculous lie. Even if it were true, you prioritized some unknown woman over my daughter. You've brought shame upon us.
He grabbed my arm and tried to drag me to the ceremony site. Even when the staff attempted to intervene, he shook them off.
Stop it. Dad, what are you doing?
This guy is a stupid. The wedding is off. Go and apologize to each guest individually.
The guests, seated in the ceremony hall, were shocked to see Lana's father and me being dragged in, pushed in front of his family's side. He shouted at me, "Apologize now." What should I do? Will apologizing calm him down? No, he'll surely demand more. But if I don't comply, the situation won't settle. My best day turning into the worst. Finally, with no other option, I managed to squeeze out a feeble voice. I'm very sorry for what happened." Just as I was about to reluctantly utter my apologies, someone intervened.
Johnson, you don't need to do that. Stop it.
It was Parker. He stood next to me, pulling me to my feet.
What is the meaning of this?
Please stop this unnecessary insult. He is the main character today.
You're his boss, aren't you? Acting all high and mighty for a subcontractor.
Our company is a business partner of yours, not a subcontractor. And even if we were, this kind of attitude is unwarranted.
You better watch your mouth. With just a little pressure from our company, yours could.
Lana's father stepped forward, the situation becoming tense. And at that moment, suddenly, a young man appeared next to Lana's father.
President.
He seemed hurried, whispering something urgently into his ear. The person who stepped in amidst this situation must be some kind of secretary.
What?
Hearing the news, his face paled.
Don't say such foolish things. That can't be.
I just received the notification myself. Please, look at this.
He intently examined the phone screen shown by the secretary.
Link Tours has a major contract with Cherry Blossom Travel Publishing.
His words echoed throughout the venue, perhaps spoken without thought. Parker and I exchanged glances. Link Tours is now the leading travel company in the industry, offering a diverse range of plans both domestically and internationally.
It seems like there won't be any problem, even if the deal with Emerald Travel Company gets canceled.
Parker said that, then made a phone call to the company, presumably for confirmation. After a while, he hung up, looked at me, and smiled.
Johnson, you helped a pregnant woman on your way here, didn't you?
Yes.
That lady is apparently the president's daughter of Link Tours.
What?
Apparently, The president of Link Tours personally thanked our company earlier, and he knew your name from your sales efforts. They were about to finalize a contract with us, and your act of helping his daughter solidified his decision to work with us.
That's leaving me in astonishment. Parker confronts Lana's father.
That's how it is. I'd appreciate it if you refrained from any further harassment towards him.
Is that so? Your subordinates won't be able to get married at this rate.
I don't think that's related.
No, I won't tolerate a company employee like this being involved with my family.
Enough of this, Dad.
Lana, dressed in a wedding gown, stands in front of him.
I'm not a tool to uphold your dignity, Dad.
I don't remember saying such a thing.
You just tried to use me for negotiation, didn't you?
Well, that's...
I understand. It's natural to be cautious because of Dad's position as the CEO, and also because many people have approached us and betrayed us multiple times. But, you see,
Then she hold my arm.
he was the only one who didn't see me in that light. He's different from the people Dad dislikes. He's a kind person who offered to help when I was cleaning alone. He's even better at cleaning than I am.
Lana,
Do you think we understand that not everyone who approaches us has ulterior motives? It's time to stop acting like a child.
what are you saying to your parents?
Come on. It's getting embarrassing.
Lana's mother gave a sharp look. Seemingly unable to bear it any longer, she left the venue. Afterward, Lana and I apologized to everyone for causing trouble and had a redo of the wedding ceremony. While the logistics were chaotic, I believe it was a good ceremony that allowed us to reaffirm our bonds with people. Later on, Lana's father was dismissed from his position as the CEO due to losing business deals with us by personal reasons and having contracts terminated by other attendees. Additionally, it seems Lana's mother, who was fed up with his arrogant attitude, presented him with divorce papers. Lana, feeling sorry for both her parents, has been trying various means to mediate between them. She earnestly persuaded her mother, despite such parents, to spend time together and even created opportunities for the two of them. With the selfless kindness from the daughter he had tried to use as a tool, I can only hope that Lana's father will have a change of heart. Furthermore, later on, Smith, the president's daughter of Link Tours, came to express her gratitude with her newborn baby. The newborn baby was so adorable that it made me dream of having one someday. And then, after successfully achieving a major contract with Link Tours, I was promoted to department manager. I consulted Parker about my anxiety about gradually taking on the job of managing people.
That's right. It's good to have those concerns. It's much better than baselessly believing you can do it yourself. Failure is natural. So it's important to have an attitude of learning what to do and what not to do.
I see. Thank you very much.
What's that? No need to be formal.
You even protected me on my wedding day. I've been in your care for a long time. You're my role model.
I'm glad to hear that. So, become the kind of boss who can receive such compliments, all right?
Yes, I often hear people say Johnson is a good guy, but I don't have that intention myself. I acquired unselfish kindness by watching Parker. Just like I admired him, someday I want to become such a person. And if that person becomes someone admired by someone else again, Wouldn't the world become a very kind place? It's not such a grand dream, but I hope that at least the people I'm connected to can feel that way.